Hello everyone, welcome to Nareen's Life with MS. I am Nareen and it is the first Soulful Saturdays session after, I've come back from the United States and today is also a pretty important day because I actually um, went to the hospital, did daycare, got my infusions, and considering I normally have a monthly vitamin B-12 infusion, I included that alongside my rituximab or rituximab, whichever way you want to call it. And usually what I do beforehand was I would take the rituximab first and then I would do the B-12 later. And because the rituximab does take a lot longer to infuse, the B-12 would be a pretty fast infusion. So today, because it was the other way around, the B-12, the rate of infusion for the B-12 was, a little bit slower. So I could actually feel getting a little more energy inside. I mean, usually what ends up happening is when I'm, getting infused, normally someone does help me to the washroom and then back. And I think there were one or two times where I actually did it all on my own. So, yay for me. But with that being said, the rituximab also wasn't too bad. I did feel a little tired once it got a little later in the evening because we were at the hospital. I think we landed there at 8:13 and we left the hospital around 7:30. So it was about 11 hours for the entire thing, and that includes, getting all the the signings and signatures, and then of course getting into um, the daycare and pretty much filling out the forms, getting the medication, all of that. So it was one thing that I definitely did, considering that I couldn't do much, right? With my hand pretty much connected, I actually thought about what are some of other people's uh, what are other people's activities to do while they are getting while they are getting infusions. I mean, previously what I used to do was I would take a book, I would read said book. But of course, now considering that my eyes aren't, doing all that great, and I'm suffering from the oscillopsia, to the extent that, reading is, the less I read, the better. And so I stopped doing that. I also at one point would probably put some some show on and watch that or watch YouTube. But even that I prefer normally not doing because it puts my neck at a very awkward angle, because obviously I have to either sit up straight to watch it, which starts, it gets my back tired, or if I'm lying down I have to kind of crank my neck up, which starts hurting my neck as well. So now I just pretty much was listening to a podcast the entire time, and pretty much also considering that I was horizontal, I would say 90% of the time, 95% of the time. I was pretty much floating in and out of sleep. And considering most of the podcasts that I listen to are more comedic, It was great to, wake up either to, the podcast host laughing or, just waking up to hear a joke and then chuckling a little bit, falling back asleep. So that was pretty much how I spent the 11 hours or majority of the 11 hours that I was at daycare. So here's a question for you. What do you think, or what do you like to do when you are getting um, the infusions? What do you like doing? What makes what pretty much keeps you engaged during that time, because it is a very long time that you have to do all of this. And with that being said, I think that is the one thing that I do want to go off. I mean, there were a lot more things, but my phone is also running out of battery. So I'm pretty sure I'll have a lot of things to also say tomorrow when it's Super Sunday, which, I mean, considering that today has been the biggest event this week, I can definitely talk a lot more about it. And yeah, so can conclude today's thing. My name is Naren. This is Naren Saif with MS. I hope you had a great Saturday and you're all ready to, pretty much rest up on Sunday. Make sure that you're all set for the week to begin on Monday. So with that being said, good night.